Welcome to this special edition of Captains of Industry. Tonight we bring you four very special guests that I recently interviewed in London at the London Business School Africa Business Summit. I'm joined now by Wale Tinubu, who is the Group Chief Executive for Oando PLC. Wale, thanks for joining us. Let's get an update on Nigeria and how you are feeling as a business specifically with an oil focus operating in Nigeria at the moment, given the well-documented headwinds.
Pretty much happy with where we are, in the sense that I think the first thing is to have an enabling environment, and that starts from corruption, dealing with corruption. We have a president who's taking that head on, and that creates the enabling environment for us to do business in a transparent manner, and certainly enables us to ensure that we can get the investments going into the right places at the right time. He's dealing with the security of the country, which is a big issue regarding pipeline theft. We've had a lot of pipeline incidents which actually saw our production drop by as much as 30%.
There are comments out there that the process to eliminate corruption is taking so long that it's bringing the Nigerian economy to a standstill. Is that an unfair criticism?
Absolutely, it's certainly an unfair criticism. I think what is happening was there was a focus on people who had looted the country's resources via the security services, because there was a large budget to fight the Boko Haram, and that was the first focus. And then thereafter, the next cleanup occurred to do with other sectors of the economy, particularly the oil industry as well. And there is good progress being made. And in the same way, we just signed a budget, a $30 billion budget, which is the largest budget the country has ever signed in 1 year, and has the highest component for capital expenditure, which will see us focus quite a bit on infrastructure and roads. And I think that's critical in terms of being able to free up the economy to ensure that we can drive the diversification emphasis that we do need as a country going forward.
So it's
in view of the oil
process,
prices.
but it is important to put the right steps in place.
Yeah, I mean, I was totally supportive of the president's perspective of dealing with corruption, the security of the country first. There was a focus on ensuring that we dealt with the security, then the corruption. Okay, and now the focus is really on the economy. And with the economy, the first step really is getting a budget, right, which has been done, getting a right balance between recurrent expenditure and capital expenditure. For the first time, we have a focus on capital expenditure. And I think what we now look forward to is getting a balance to ensure that our monetary policy flows hand in hand with the fiscal incentives or fiscal objectives of that budget.
So let's talk about the foreign exchange crisis, which is currently underway in Nigeria. Is the situation going to abate anytime soon?
Well, I think it's going to self-right, because the truth of the matter is that there's no doubt that Nigeria is devalued. The question is, what is the Central Bank of Nigeria selling its own dollars at? If the total demand of the nation is approximately, maybe for ease of a better, a simple scenario, $500 million a week.
The key here, though, is that foreign investors looking to deploy capital into Nigeria are looking at the environment now and saying, we want to be able to put our money into an environment, make a return, and get that money out, which right now is not possible in Nigeria. Do you think that the damage to investors' perception of the Nigerian economy is immeasurable in this space?
No, not really. I think we're all adjusting. I mean, certainly we do need a currency that is appropriately priced, but the economy is so vast, and the requirements for capital are so strong that I would say foreign investors would have to be creative in the way and manner they approach the economy. So we've borrowed heavily in the past, and we've taken a lot of dollar facilities in the past. We've taken dollar instruments like bonds, we've done convertible loans, and there are ways and means of getting your capital into the country in a way and manner in which you manage the exchange rate risk if you do fear that you are bringing your capital ahead of an impending devaluation. The fact remains that the returns that are available in the environment far outweigh the risk of standing on the corner and waiting to say, I want everything to be perfect before I come in.
Is there some sense of stabilization of the oil price now that we are around that $45 a barrel level?
I think the first thing that we do need to accept is that oil is a commodity, so it will flow like a commodity. It's typically an 8 to 10 year cycle. So we enjoyed a very good boom, and we went north of $100, and now we're question is, was that the real value? And we're back to the early 40s. I still see
volatility. Do you have a real value in mind that you deem the appropriate level?
Well, the real value is typically based on supply and demand, isn't it? As we all accept. And at the end of the day,
market dynamics.
Exactly. Unfortunately, when the price rises, everybody wants to drill today. Everybody wants to produce today. And we end up bidding up the cost of those services. And invariably, the cost of those services, transfer into a higher cost of production. And we're likely to see a further oil price increase. So I think
So have you adjusted your business, as in Oando, to deal with the existing level of the oil price?
Yes, we have. I mean, our first and primary thing was to cut our debt. And what we did, we took an $800 million charge last year, and what we focused on doing is selling $350 million worth of businesses, and we've restructured $450 million worth of facilities over a 5-year period. And we did the restructuring in Naira to ensure that we could get the benefit of a strengthening dollar and weakening local currency, because we're an export-driven operation. But we must be ready to increase production as soon as the price of oil starts creeping up.
Wale, thank you for your time. I've been chatting to Wale Tinubu, who's the Group Chief Executive of Oando PLC.